That's what we've been doing. You guys remember that junker? We've been pulling parts. We've been selling parts off of it. I got another few more parts that people want to buy. The kid that bought the AC system actually came back and he bought the whole underdash, because I think his car was an HX or something like that, DX. It didn't have AC, so he came in, he bought the whole more parts. Then I sold the steering wheel and I sold the 2 front seats, so that's gone. I have a guy right now that he wants to buy just this, the climate control vessel part. I think it was $100 shipped. And I also have another guy for the ignition switch, but I don't pull them out until I get paid for. And that's that Subaru engine I told you guys about, a cord swap, and another cord swap, I think. This was an MR2 that I parted out. I sold a bunch of things, but it's about getting ready to go to junk it. The only reason I didn't junk it, I kept it, and good thing I did, is because we used the struts. I was like, I'm not gonna junk it until I have that MR2 running, that red one. So finally sold it, cousin bought it, and we used the springs off of it, and I think that's about it. This thing's pretty much going to the junkyard now. I'm only saving it for the doors, but I'm gonna pull them out, the doors, and I was saving it for the front core support. I know a lot of people buy these, so I don't know, I just don't want to, I want to clear the yard a little bit. So the spindles are all here too. They're NA spindles. The T-top glasses are there, but I'm gonna save those with the doors. What I'm gonna be working on this week, it's gonna be this. This is Mikey's project, but he has no time because he works a lot, and he was coming over and working on it every now and then. He would work on it every now and then, but yeah, he said, hey man, how much you charge me, and I'll just I will just pay you for it. And he wants the engine bay white, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab the tow truck. I'm gonna grab the tow truck, pull it out of here, and take it inside the shop, and we gotta get it running for the track. So if somebody would see it, they would probably think it's a parked car, or it's gonna go to the junkyard, but it's not. You guys see how it sits, and then you guys see how it will come out. That Integra, Project Integra, it's in a hold because the dude that sold me the car, it's gonna sell me the whole LS swap. And I have a GSR head, so I might do an LS VTEC. So that's on a hold for now, but yeah. I'm gonna probably put the phone here and do a time lapse. So I will be back. I'm gonna go grab the tow truck, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of here. So it's like 103 degrees outside. I left the phone on top of the hood of the truck so I can time lapse it, you know, make it go faster or fast forward the video. But as soon as I left it there, within probably a minute, it said it was too hot. The phone had to cool down. That was crazy. It's very, very hot outside. So it's not that hot in here. It's hot, but not that hot, not as hot as outside. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lower the car, and then I'm probably gonna rinse the floor so it cools down a little bit. And yeah, but I was trying to get more footage for you guys, but unfortunately the phone got too hot being on the sun and it wouldn't record. But this is where we're at. We're gonna lower it right now. I'm gonna unload it, and then I'm gonna move the tow truck, and then I'm gonna pressure wash it just so get rid of all the dirt and whatnot. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna see if I can set the phone somewhere. All right, so we got the car in here. We washed it all up. I keep saying we, and it's I. I washed it all up. We was when we did the door. It was me and Jose. That was a we. Yeah, freaking Jose, he pulled it off. I didn't want to do it. I was gonna pay somebody to do it, but I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot nicer, and it helps a lot. You just, like I said, you can press a button or you can do it yourself, however you want. But that was a big step up, a big come up, big help from him. Then Mikey showed up yesterday when we were almost done. He showed up. He helped us tension the springs and do the adjust the motor. It still needs to be adjusted more because you can see it's not fully opened, but it doesn't bother me now. But yeah, it's hot in here. I'm sweating. It's still hot. This engine ran when it was in there. It ran really good, so we know everything engine wise it was good, and the car ran good. I think they had an issue with the fuel pump, but it got solved. That problem got solved. So everything else, it's fine in the car. The only thing the car needed was they were in the process of putting the turbo kit on. So I'm gonna remove all that. I'm gonna pull the engine out. I'm gonna pull as much as I can because all this orange has to be white. He wanted it white. We just did all this just to make sure the engine ran and the wiring was all done, because when he got it, it was in 1,000 pieces. Like the whole engine was all apart. The whole engine was all apart. He got a completely bare block, completely bare head. Transmission was the only thing that was not apart, but other than that, everything was all apart. So when we put it back together, he wanted to make sure everything functioned in the vehicle. And then eventually he wanted to do the car yellow, but it's got a lot of dents and whatnot. So the body work, they didn't do it that great either. So he was like, you know what, yellow's gonna stand out a lot. So he decided to go with so when I paint the car, if that pops out, you guys know that it was already there. Just kidding. We gotta sand down this. We gotta sand down all the way, not to metal, but just till the primer starts peeling off. And that here, I don't know what happened there, but it's gonna get sand down too. I think he's gonna do all that while I work on the engine. He came yesterday because I told him I was gonna start yesterday, but we weren't finished with the door, so we couldn't pull it in here. And he said, I'll come up tomorrow because we finished the door, and he left. He said, so you're good to start it tomorrow? I told him, yeah. So anyways, right now, all that has to come out. And another thing is this thing has a lot of bolts that are not tying up all the way. Let me go ahead and raise it up. So when he was trying to steer the car wouldn't steer because it was missing a lot of bolts. But it's kind of sketchy. I told him, you know, it needs a lot of attention. We gotta make sure we go through it all over again, otherwise something can happen. So as you can see, this bolt is not all the way. So we got to go through all the bolts. See, it's missing a nut right there. This one's not tightened. All that, some of the stuff we left them loose when we did the engine, the axles, because like I said, everything was just gonna be just to hear the engine run, and then that was then the process of moving the shop happened, and then that's why we just put everything just so we can roll it up into the flatbed. Oh, back then it was a ramp truck. If we would have had the flatbed, it would have been easier, but we had a ramp truck, so it had to roll on its own. But other than that, everything else looks fine. I'm probably gonna convince him to take those out and paint them. They look pretty ugly. It's just like the Integra. These are purple, the Integras are pink. So we'll see if he wants to. I'll convince him to take these off and just paint them black or something. This is broken. It's not fixable, so we're gonna go ahead and take it off. That's just to protect the lines. But he's gonna race up the car a little bit more. He's also looking for wheels. He wants to put some different wheels in it. So yeah, I'm not gonna record when I'm pulling out the engine. I'm sure you guys have seen, and it's really easy on these ones. You just pull the whole engine harness from the ECU all the way on top. You set the wiring on top of the engine. You pull it from the ECU, you set it on top, and then there's another one by the strut tower, and then you just put it on top. Right now what I'm gonna do is remove the axles and the shift linkage, and once you do that, it drops straight down. So I'm probably not gonna record that. I'm probably gonna record once it's out, and then we're gonna go ahead and start. I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding down the engine bay so we can paint it. So I'm trying to not make this video long because it's already probably like a 15-minute video, and I don't want to bore you guys, but that's the process. That's what we're gonna do this week. All right, about an hour later, hour and a half, the engine's out. It's missing the cam seals. You guys probably remember why on that B20 VTEC, not the B20 VTEC, the B20 Turbo, the white coupe. Remember, you guys remember I was making the video that it was around 10 o'clock and we were loading it up, and that's when I saw the oil leak coming out. And well, the auto parts were closed, and I was 100% sure I had the seals, but I couldn't find them. Somebody used them up. And anyways, I borrowed them from this car. So that's why I pulled I had to pull the timing cover off, and then I had to pull the cam caps on top. So the engine's all on time, I know that. I would lift it all on time. All I gotta do is right now is I have the seals. I'm gonna show that later. I have the seals. I'm gonna put the seals on, and I know that for sure that engine ran good. So I'm gonna put the seals back on, put the valve cover, seal it. I know that's already done. And we are gonna move back into this one. This is radiator cap. So everything that comes off, I always put it back in the box, so I know that everything that's in there, it's gonna be put back in here. Not everything. A lot of times some things get eliminated, but in this car, in this case, the only thing I'm gonna unplug that fuse box, shove the wires back in, like these brackets. This one, same thing. Unhook it from here, or unbolt it from there, unbolt it from here. Actually, this one, it doesn't have a master cylinder, so we're gonna take those off, and the whole thing comes off. Take this one off, knock it down. That I'm gonna paint it black, and then everything that you see orange, reddish, whatever, is gonna be white. This comes off, that comes off. This one's normally we just tape them on the top. It's not a show car. He just wants it white because that color is really ugly. So we're not worried about, most of the stuff that a lot of people worry about, like these. We're not gonna worry about all that. Like this one's, we're gonna take them off. This is just rubber. If you hit it with the wire brush, it comes off. We're gonna take those out because I don't want to paint those, because then it flakes off like they are right now. This ones, they painted them over. They didn't care, they just painted them. And we are probably gonna do the same because it's white, and if I wrap them, these ones are already painted, so they're gonna look pretty ugly. They're kind of tucked anyways, so we just want the engine bay to look white. We don't like that color, so we just want the engine bay to look white. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock off more parts, and then I'll probably upload a little bit. Okay, here we are again. The name of this video, the name of this channel is Watch and Learn. It's not about secrets and whatnot. So I wanted to let you guys know that where I buy my parts, they're online. Normally it takes 2 to 3 days or overnight shipping, depending sometimes what day of the week you get them. I get them really cheap. You guys remember a while back we were struggling for a B series exhaust manifold gaskets. These things are like, I think, $10 online. So I want to have that in stock. Valve cover gaskets. If you guys ever buy a valve cover gasket from Auto Parts or Rallies, AutoZone, I don't know about Napa, but do not buy the blue ones. If they give you the blue ones, it's gonna fit, but it's only gonna fit once when you take it off. That's what happened to me that day when I was working on that turbo B20 coupe. When I took off the valve cover, as soon as I take off the valve cover, the gasket stretches probably about an inch. I don't know why. I think it's because of the heat. They're cheap quality. So if you ever get a blue one, be aware that you're only going to use it once. You always want to use the black ones or the gray ones. This one's like, again, online, these things are like, I believe $11 or $12. So I bought two of them. One's for this engine and the other one's to have in stock. Rear main seal, same thing, they're like $5. So all that, I try to keep it in stock, because the auto parts, it will be a hit and a miss. Sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. Timing belt, I got one because you guys remember when my brother blew his mount, he busted his timing belt. And I think they wanted like $90 for that timing belt. Online, I think they're like $30 or so, like less than 50% off. I bought these pistons. They sell pistons too. I bought these pistons because, do you guys remember the K2482, the TSX motor that guy blew, or I blew because I was playing around with the wastegate wanting more boost? Well, that car ran good. It had a TSX motor in it with the Type S oil pump. Anyways, I blew the piston rings on it. It was a good running motor. It still ran. So I bought these pistons. They are these things are pretty cheap. They're like OEM replacement. You'll see right now. So I bought a set of 4 pistons. The good thing about these, they are free floaters. So free floaters, that means you don't have to take them to the machine shop or anything. You can do everything at home. You don't need to keep their wrist pins or nothing. I'm trying to open it with one hand. And I'm holding the phone with the other one. I need to get a tripod so I can leave this thing not hanging, but standing. So that's the wrist pin. They give you new wrist pins. I think these things were like $100 online. And these are standard bore. You can get them aftermarket or bigger bore. But yeah, pretty much same thing. I've used them before and they do really good. I mean, it's just an OEM replacement. So yeah, this thing for the set of 4 with new rings, I believe. I don't remember, I have to check, but they were like just over $100. So I got those because I'm gonna put that block together, and I don't know if I'm gonna post it up for sale or use it. But anyways, cam seals, I have more in stock. No, I got 1, 2, that's the crankshaft seal, and I got 4 of them to have 2 in stock. And these are the rings for the pistons. So it's a lot better when you buy them online. You do have to wait a couple more days, but if you order them and have them in stock, it's nice, because then you're paying retail price at the auto parts stores. And not only that, but sometimes they don't fit. That's what pisses me off. So I have the VTEC ones in stock, and I have the non-VTEC ones in stock. So that's good to keep on mind and keep them in stock. Keep in mind that if you ever buy the valve cover, you're only gonna use it once. It fits good the first time, but it doesn't fit good the second time. Once you pull it off, it's gonna be too long. You're gonna rip it, and there's no way you can put them back on. I've tried where you cut that little half an inch more, and you put silicone, and you'll still drip. It's better than nothing, but it'll still drip. But a lot of times people use silicone, and once you use silicone around them, there's no way you were not gonna use them. You're not gonna reuse them. They rip. They'll rather rip than come off. So I'm gonna put this back together. Like I said, seal that motor. I already took everything off. Pretty much everything is off. That's how it's gonna start getting sanded down. And then we use foil paper. You'll see after a bit. This one, man, I don't know. They do really crappy jobs. These things don't supposed to go in there. They're supposed to go on the outside. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull the 4 bolts off, and I'm gonna paint that black along with this one too. They painted this one before. That's black. So I'm gonna sand that down, scuff pad that, and then paint them black, and then shoot everything white. So that's the plan. Like I said, I'm gonna be uploading parts and parts because I don't want to shoot a whole 20-30 minute video. Unless you guys are okay with it, just let me know in the comments. But as of now, I'm gonna go ahead and get this done.